Salut. Ça va? Santé.
Coucou, bienvenue from France. Actually, bienvenue from Paris today. Today is a special series that we are kicking off called Another Way to Live, Conversations from Paris. So I will be exploring how living here really shapes how our guests think about life, work, relationships, what really matters. And these conversations aren't about defining like a quote unquote right way to live, but really about noticing what feels different and what that might open up for you as a listener. So I'm very happy today. I'm actually in Paris in Isabelle. A lot of you know her beautiful apartment, which is available on Airbnb. I will definitely include that in the show notes. But today I am really excited. I'm here with Sammy Royal. She is originally from New Zealand, but now she's based in Paris, and she is a wonderful travel hospitality editorial photographer. She's lived in Paris almost 3 years. I think we moved around the same time with her husband and 2 children who are also around the age of my children, which is lovely. And I invited Sammy as a guest on the podcast because I've just been incredibly moved by her work. She is a beautiful photographer. She really has the ability to capture emotion and stories in her work, which isn't always easy to do. I was sharing with her as a marketer, I've worked with a lot of photographers, and sometimes the lighting or they're missing the storyline or the emotion that's supposed to come through. And she just seems to hit it every time. And there's just this beautiful sense of intimacy in her work that you're almost in that moment with her. So I've been very impressed, and I'm very happy to have her today. And I will include her portfolio and her contact information if you're interested as well in our show notes today. So thank you, Sammy, for joining.
Thank you so much for having me and for the lovely intro. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I wanted you to just share a little bit about your story. So I know you started as a TV producer. You're from New Zealand. Just kind of give us a little of your background.
Yeah, so originally from New Zealand, and I at school studied photography, and I always loved it. And I actually started in the darkroom, so I'm showing my age. And I loved seeing things come to life, and it really got hooked on photography from then.
Okay.
But I didn't study it as a career. I wanted to, but I didn't study it as a career because at the time you had to do a full kind of arts degree to be able to kind of pursue it even further. So I ended up doing TV and film at a broadcasting school.
Cool.
And so I did a degree in that, and I learnt that was amazing because it was like a hands-on physical course that taught you like every different part of the industry. And so I ended up loving producing.
Yeah.
So I worked for a mini production company in New Zealand, traveling around New Zealand, shooting like food and with 2 chefs, which was incredible.
Wow, very
and
cool.
And then I moved to Sydney about a year or so later, and I got my first job in advertising.
Oh, nice.
No, it wasn't at DDB, it was at YNR, which is one of the big agencies.
Yeah.
And that was amazing because it just taught me everything I know. And then I moved to DDB a couple of years later in Sydney.
Wow.
Taking one step back, my husband and I actually met when we were in high school.
But you met in high school.
Yeah.
Wow,
but we had
we
had a break for 8 years, just a small break.
Just a small break. Is he from New Zealand?
Yes,
as well?
he's from New Zealand, yeah. So then he moved over to Sydney when we got back together 8 years later, and then we ended up moving back to New Zealand.
Got it.
And so I moved back to DDB as well. So I was with the DDB network when we ended up moving to Paris for about 15 years.
Wow,
so yeah, a long
cool.
time in the family. But I loved my job as a TV producer.
Yeah.
It was incredible to travel, every script was different, so it was amazing to work on different things, to meet like working creative teams. And I reckon so much of that has carried over to my role as a photographer, especially things like storytelling, attention to detail, working in a team to deadlines, and also, as you say, like kind of just noticing things and thinking of it a bit more holistically around what's important in a shot rather than just taking a photo.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So then after I had my second baby, she's now 5, nearing the end of before we moved to Paris.
Okay.
And it got like TV producer, I loved the job, but it was so full on. Oh. Like just like you said about your, like just so full on. Yeah. The hours were crazy. You're just constantly
Are you constantly
going
on too? Like
on.
Yeah.
And which I did love, but I think also I'd kind of luckily experienced all the, the things that I really wanted to do. And also it was getting, and it still is, harder and harder. the budgets are lower, but they want clients want more, and no disrespect, but it's, in general, it's harder. And I just think I needed a change. And then my husband's business, their next market was France and Europe. So we made the move, 2 Kiwis and 2 Kiwi kids and no French at all.
And no French.
So super easy.
Yeah, just us. No
French,
French,
exactly. So I took some time off to settle the kids.
Yes, of course.
Which was amazing. And then actually, to be honest, didn't know what I was going to do straight away. And then, but I knew I wanted to do something in photography. Right. Okay. And then, just kind of like, I just literally practice every single day, like just shot. Really? I bought my camera after about a year of being here and then just shot. And then I did a couple of courses with the amazing Lens 11, who I've shared before on my page. Cool. Incredible. Laura's amazing. And that, and then I've just started growing it into a business slowly. It's been really, that part's been really hard. I'll touch on that later. Yeah. But it's been an amazing way to see Paris as well.
I bet. Because you can kind of like capture little moments. And I feel like what I love about photography is you're almost like forced to be really present.
Exactly.
Right? Like your mind can't be thinking about 8 million other things while you're walking through the streets of Paris. You're in that moment.
Exactly. And I think that that's definitely, you notice, or what I've really noticed is how I see things differently is, I think also when you're so busy and when you're living in a city that's your own city as well, that you tend to not take the time and you don't notice things as much. But Paris is really, and photography has really made me notice small details, notice the light. Like the way the light hits the Parisian architecture is so magical. I will never get over it. I will literally never get over it.
Oh, it's so
And I think even living here for 3 years, I never take it still for granted. I never take it for granted. Like I still walk out and I'm like, it's just.
Isn't that just feel awesome?
Yeah.
I actually feel the same way, like even 3 years in X, you can go through days where they're hard and you're like, okay, I'm really like a lot of things can go wrong in France, right?
Yes, exactly.
But then you have those moments and days that you're like, it is so magical when I live here.
I know.
And it just really feels
pinch yourself.
For sure. Yeah. And I love even just taking the train up 3 hours easy to Paris.
I know.
And I'm like, then I'm suddenly in Paris. And I'm like in a whole new world of beauty and just amazing. Like I'm like now really trying to take it in of like noticing little things and like just, especially because I'm here alone, like being alone by yourself, like it's very tempting to just like get on your phone or like, right? Or like, I bring a book places, but I'm actually just trying to sit and be.
Yes.
And it's it's hard, but it's so good.
It's so hard to switch off, isn't it? Like, and the Parisians do it so well. And that's what I love love exploring, and I love like seeing how, and I love trying to adapt that lifestyle because it is so important.
You had one thing that you posted, which I loved. You captured how acceptable and wonderful it is to be alone. You said, especially in Paris, to sit alone, to read a book, to just be.
Yeah.
What kind of sparked that for you?
So actually that's a series I've been doing and continuing to do with Marie from Parisian Sundays, who's an amazing writer who I adore.
She's actually going to be coming.
Is she? Oh, that's so cool. I love that. She is great. We've become really good friends.
Oh, you have? Okay,
we drink wine together and it's great. When she's here, obviously.
I know she's not here all the time. No. I was trying to see if she could meet this week, but anyways,
So she and I actually reached out to her and I said, why don't we do some collaborations? And then she writes so beautifully about Paris and the observations and then I just started putting sort of my photos, pairing my photos with some of her words.
Oh, cool.
And they've been resonating really well on social and
awesome.
And I think it's for us what we love about Paris and France in general is the art of almost doing nothing just the being alone, because before I was probably I didn't spend much time alone, and I probably didn't really love it.
No,
but now, oh my God, it's so good.
So good. I have these moments. I remember I was living in New York City, and I had gone through a really bad breakup, and I was alone, really, for the first time, living alone, being alone, and I hated it.
Yeah,
I felt lonely. I wasn't comfortable. I was worried about what I was going to do on a weekend. So if I was alone. But I don't know if that's being comfortable in ourselves more or being in a culture where that's more welcome.
Yeah.
But either one has been awesome because now I can't tell you how excited I was about this trip to Paris.
I know.
I mean, it sounds
probably
bad,
having kids as well.
I won't let them listen.
No, sorry, did not mean that. My children.
No, less about like I need to escape.
No,
them,
exactly.
Especially at these ages, they're so it's beautiful time.
Yeah,
but it's more like because I think the ability to like be comfortable with yourself and what like allows, I don't know, I always feel like what the universe allows to kind of bring to us in those moments is super cool.
Like before, eating alone would have been strange to me, and now I like just love it.
Yeah, same.
And I think in Paris you see so many people like eating by themselves. Yeah. So no, I love it. And that series explores the presence of people, the relaxing, just all the observations and the like about Paris and France that we love so much.
So cool. But, have you done another series? Because I also loved you wrote, or Marie, maybe relaxing is a skill worth practicing. And you said daily life matters as much as special occasions. The smallest things deserve the greatest attention, like bread and butter and books. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
I absolutely, yes, Marie and I have done lots of them.
Oh,
so
cool.
There's a whole series that I've linked on my stories, but and each time it's a different subject about, what we've noticed and what we love about Paris and France. But yeah, especially I just love how the Parisians live. They take time for meals, they take time for moments. It's really important. I think also probably when I took a step back and stopped rushing in a really, really busy career, obviously to settle the kids and everything while I was kind of figuring out my next move, it was just amazing to be able to learn from the culture that it's so important to take that time. I mean, it's important in New Zealand culture as well, but I think the daily rituals are more important here, and I love them. So I'm trying to adopt that as much as possible. Tell
me a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like. Like, how are you adapting like the French mentality of day-to-day rituals?
Yeah, so mornings are obviously getting the kids ready for school, and then going down 5 flights of stairs with no elevator, and
dragging them with their backpacks.
Yes, which was a battle at first because my daughter was 2, and I had to she didn't want to walk up the stairs ever, so I had to carry her up. So that was fun.
Workout.
I know, it was a great workout. But actually, do you know what? I love the stairs. The stairs are like a forced exercise.
It's so true.
We're about to move apartments. We're not going to have an elevator. We're going to have an elevator, but I'm not going to use it.
You're not?
No.
You say that now.
I know. My husband's like, I bet that'll last a week. I'm like, probably.
But it is true. How many floors in your new apartment?
5.
Okay, so same as
now.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to use it for shopping.
I was going to say use it for like groceries. Yeah. Because that's painful.
Yeah. But that's about it.
Good for you.
The daily exercise, the addition that you don't have before is great.
And the walking, don't you? You walk a lot, don't you?
That's a big thing I've noticed about the difference in cultures and the difference in life. Sadly, New Zealand's public transport is terrible. Not being rude, but like it's not well set up. And also it's such a culture of driving. Like everyone drives. We drove everywhere.
No, I know. It's
even
very
like
similar in the US.
Yes,
around the corner.
Yeah,
I know.
And now not having a car, it's amazing.
No, so you have no car.
No car. And we have not missed it at all. At all.
Cool?
We're so close to the metro, but also the train systems for traveling on holidays. So amazing. Like you said. So we went to the French Alps for skiing. So like we left Paris in the morning, got on the train, which is so much easier than flying with kids, I find.
Oh my gosh.
And then we were having pizza and a beer like at midday in the French Alps, like a few hours later. It was crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's like the coolest part.
And I think also coming from New Zealand, that's been one of the biggest differences is just the accessibility and the just how easy it is to get everywhere. And we're so lucky, and I don't take it for granted because like when you're from New Zealand, you're lucky to do a European trip, once or 2 years or whenever whenever you can. But for us, like just being here is so amazing to be able to explore, So
you realize how close actually things are in Europe.
Yes, exactly.
And it's kind of amazing. Like this sounds like I'm very naive, but I had no idea that like I can get to Italy in an hour and a half.
I know.
Like on the border. And I'm like, I had no idea when we moved that I would be that close to like the Italian border.
Yeah.
And even like Spain, Portugal, like we've driven all of that, because I think as an American or as a New Zealander, like you're just used to driving really long distances.
Yes, exactly.
So it doesn't really seem that bad. Like even San Francisco to LA is like 8 hours in a car, right? And so I'm like 8 hours. I could be in a whole like 2 more countries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we stayed in Nice, like just hopped on a train for my birthday to Italy.
Fun.
It was like crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so coming back to your daily rituals.
Okay,
sorry, we got a little.
So So then I normally, it depends on the day obviously, but normally I am doing admin and answering emails and quoting jobs. And then if I'm either shooting or I'm editing, or if I don't have a job on sort of that day, then I'm wandering, like flaneur around Paris shooting for my page or for myself. Or I'm also starting to license a lot of my photography, which is great. Cool. So I'm trying to shoot as much as possible anyway.
Yeah, that's so
to
great.
Just build my archive.
Yeah, it's really smart.
So yeah, and then exciting things like laundry, supermarket shopping, and that kind of thing. And then picking up the kids from school, and they finish at 4:30, which is so late, which is great for parents.
Yes,
but it's hard. It's not really hard. Well, they've been fine, but it's late.
It's a long day.
Yeah, it's a long day.
They have off school Wednesdays.
Yes, but just the afternoon, and they actually just stay at school.
They stay at school. Yeah. So that's pretty common in France for those of you listening, that they either have a half day on Wednesdays or they're off. In Aix-en-Provence, I think most of the schools are off the full day.
The full day, yeah. Here, I found most of them a half day. They work. They stay at school for the half day.
Okay, yeah. And then at my children's school, it's just the half day.
Yeah.
And then it's actually really nice. I don't know if you try to do this, but unlike in the US, all the activities were always jam-packed for kids on the weekends.
Yes, yeah.
And now I just put them on Wednesday afternoons.
Yes,
so it's like my daughter takes dance, my son does rock climbing, and et cetera. But it's like better to have it on a Wednesday.
Exactly.
If you have flexibility, I should say, in your work schedule, which I'm fortunate enough to have right now. So that kind of works. But otherwise, the weekends used to be like, we got to go here and this. And
I know,
this,
rushing around.
Crazy.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, no, definitely.
Yeah.
And I also love, as you say, I'm very fortunate to be freelancing and have the ability and the time to pick up my kids. But before, it was just such a rush, that kind of crazy rat race life of getting home and dinner has to be super quick, because it's like you literally picked up the kids, going straight home. Now I can kind of prep everything, pick them up, and I actually enjoy. I love picking them up and having that extra time.
It's really nice. Do you guys walk to school, or how does that?
So
nice.
My daughter's just learned to ride a bike, so
she cute. So she's 5. She's riding a bike around Paris. So sweet. I know.
Learning in Paris is what different from learning in New Zealand.
Don't get hit by a car.
No, exactly, and don't fall onto the concrete.
Right.
She's biking into people. I'm like, oh god,
so cute. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to switch a little bit. So, how have you come to see life differently, or what's sort of have you changed anything about how you view your own life or what you value since moving here from New Zealand?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously the noticing things, I think Paris has really forced me to kind of notice. And I love that everywhere you go, even if you've been there a million times, there's always something new happening. It's such a vibrant city to explore. And then I think also kind of touching on what Marie and I are exploring is just the art of doing nothing, slowing down. Actually, ironically, it's a slower life here than it was in New Zealand, and which is lovely. And just trying to take more time to for those little everyday rituals. And I love how the French live in terms of how they eat, always going to the markets. Yes. It's really fresh produce. They bread from the boulangerie. We'd never buy bread from the supermarket, and meat from the bush. It's just really I love that.
Yeah.
And it's very cliche of what people think of French, but it's France, but it's actually true.
It's so
it's
true.
Actually how you live.
And isn't it interesting? I don't know about you, but I never plan for more than one meal.
Exactly.
Because I'll just go to the market and then I'll go to the butcher and that day I'm thinking of what I'm making versus in the US I used to be Sunday. Okay, Monday I'm loading up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to think about. Yeah. But I think it's a lovely way to live.
Yes,
it would be so hard to go back right now to think about that.
Yeah, totally.
That's okay. So you adapted that.
And sorry, what was the last part of the question?
So what has is there anything that you've changed about what you value and how you think about life a little bit differently in France versus in New Zealand?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's having to let go of my life being quite linear and planned. Mm-hmm. I think also because obviously I've started a new career, it's letting go of everything having to be worked out and decided and figured out.
Yes.
And I think that's been a really difficult shift to be honest, because I think that my life was quite linear. I wanted to get to this role and then this role and now it's quite unknown. But also I think taking those risks in a new culture and a new place and a new city is amazing and exciting. I've been lucky to have a support system around me and a previous job, to sort of have that a bit more security, I guess, when you're starting a completely new career, but also like I think just taking the risk and being sure enough to try.
Yes.
Because if you don't take risk, you never, you
never
might
know.
not get the best version of yourself.
I totally
and
love
I think that it's been amazing to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I'm really happy I did.
Oh, I'm so
and then in terms of France, I think also probably it's been very different moving from New Zealand because it's such a different life in New Zealand.
I bet.
Like it's so driven by community, it's driven by like family, it's a village when you're raising your kids.
wow.
And also like obviously even just small things like when you're, like I was saying before, like, we're lucky enough, well, in New Zealand, lots more people have gardens and backyards.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough too. And when I was cooking dinner, I could be like, go outside to the, like just having that
just
sort of
inside outside kind
exactly
of
life. And here moving to apartment was very, very different to adjust to that, especially for the children.
I bet, because they're used to just opening a door and going outside
and kicking a ball around. And exactly.
But now your new place will have a terrace.
Yes, we've got a terrace. Yeah, so I know.
Amazing.
So I'm so excited. Yeah, so very, very lucky. So I can send the kids out.
Perfect.
But yeah, I think just adjusting to that, and also like I think the biggest thing about moving here is just the building a new community is so much harder than I imagined, I think. I mean, I knew it would be hard, but we tried at first we had a mate, luckily had an Australian and French couple that we knew straight away, which was great. And then we've slowly met a few people, but we were trying not to meet too many Kiwis and expats because when we lived in Sydney, we're pretty much only friends with Kiwis. Okay. Like, okay, we need to try and integrate a bit more into culture. But then we actually, for a while, we didn't really have any friends. So we're like, okay.
Oh, is there a lot of, you say Kiwi, that's the word for New Zealand.
Oh, sorry, yes, New Zealand.
Just in case people are wondering. Are there a lot of people from New Zealand here?
But no, not really. Okay. I mean, there is a community, yes, and there's a big Australia and New Zealand. Actually, there's a bigger New Zealand community than we realised, I think.
Wow, cool. Okay.
But yeah, we were just trying to integrate more. Yeah. But I mean, with the language barrier, it's really hard.
It's really hard.
And like, as you expect, like people have their own friend group anyway already, and I guess it's the same as if someone coming into New Zealand, like everyone's kind of established, especially at our age and stage.
Right.
So that's been a real...
Where have you met friends or like couple friends or family friends?
Through kids' schools a little bit, but also before they were at an international school and it's a bit further away. So now it's been a bit easier. But there's a New Zealand community in France, which is amazing. So a lot of Kiwis through there. And we've just recently met some Kiwis who we see all the time now, which is, so we all see all the time. And I've started the little, we started a studio with them,
Let's talk about that. Okay, cool. So you started something called Juste le Fille, which en français, that means just the girls.
Just the girls, yeah.
Which is such a cute name. And it's like a mini kind of freelance agency.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right? Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
It started off because we were all freelancing in Paris. So and we met for a wine for our first like Friday work drinks at Le Bain Rouge, which is an amazing wine bar in the 12th. And it's so cute. It's amazing. And they shuck oysters outside on Sundays, and it's beautiful.
Oh, sounds amazing.
And so we kind of bonded and started talking about the shared feeling of going from like a really busy kind of team, like big, workplace to going freelancing, and then suddenly it's just
you're alone.
I know. No one bounce ideas off. Like
I know.
It's really lonely.
I did the exact same change. Like I left like managing people and teams in a big, corporation, and then at a startup. And then I started freelancing by myself and just kind of built my own like one person agency. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, like I am working for a client and I have ideas, but like I have nobody to talk to about these ideas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really, So, and then we realized that night that we had complementary skills. So obviously I'm a photographer, then there's a writer and a designer.
Cool. Okay.
So the writer's from the States, the designer's New Zealander as well. And we realized that so we decided to start a little creative collective. So our main kind of plan, the pain points that we saw once we started talking informed people were things like, if you're working with clients and businesses and like hospitality businesses and restaurants and that kind of thing, if they're working with individual freelancers, it can become a bit disjointed sometimes. The freelancers maybe just show up and, you know, they don't really understand the business. We really like to understand. We feel like it's necessary as a marketer and as a partner to understand a client's business, because otherwise how are you going to,
Totally. I agree.
And I think, like you said about in your intro, like storytelling for me, and I think that comes from my advertising background, is super important. And I think you need, I think also it's the world's going that way now as well.
Yes.
Like moving away from, because obviously with AI and everything, like I think people are naturally gravitating more back, well not back, it's never gone away, but like, you know, like they're really interested and love storytelling.
It's actually one of the biggest things, like, and when I do client work, it's much more about the story.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
And the emotion
that
is
how
meant
it makes
to
you
the
feel.
brand exactly. And so, and then coming back to that as a brand, because it's very easy for clients to get lost in like just putting marketing dollars out there, anything that is going to hopefully work to sell the product or the service. But yeah, I love that actually. I mean, that's something I'm super passionate about. And I can tell you are too, in the way that your work comes across.
The first, all the TV scripts that I've ever loved making the most are the ones with the best and the most high, you know, the stories.
So
and I'd love working with like creatives over the years who are so passionate about that too. And I think, that's really what I've tried to bring into my work as well. But so anyway, our plan is just to be creative partners.
That's
really.
awesome.
So we've just started, we did our first shoot last week with a restaurant in Piagala, which is amazing. You have to go to it. It's incredible.
I'm gonna put these two in the show notes.
Yes. And so, so we're just starting to try and find clients and start pitching. And I mean, it has been difficult building a network as a photographer alone, but also with we've only just started with the girls, but I don't know how you've felt, but like, building a network here, because I had such a big network in New Zealand.
I bet.
So that's been really hard.
Yeah.
It's to know where to start, because also people were coming to me saying, hire me. And now I'm the one like going,
I know. It's a big shift, because when I decided to go freelance, my husband used to joke, because I was like a brand marketer, but I had no brand because I didn't need to, because I had all these inbounds of people just like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? And so I had tons of work.
Yeah.
And then you move and you're like, okay, I actually have to start sort of marketing
myself. I know.
Which feels so awkward.
I know.
But like,
I know.
But I love what you said. And I think this is like coming back to like, you had to go through like a period of, after you left New Zealand, you left like a big job. Then you have to like figure out what you want to do. Then you have to take risks, right? And then you have to kind of like figure out then how to market yourself, and like also the fear of like unknown, like is this going to turn into something?
Is this even going to work?
And I just love that, because I feel like I'm also have been on that same journey.
Yeah.
So I can relate, because, and I actually just wrote a piece about this on Substack of like what it's really like, because you can still wake up, and I don't know if you go through this, like on a Monday morning and still feel kind of like panicked, like you're supposed to be doing something, and then you're like,
not just a Monday.
Okay, not just Monday. Mondays are the worst for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I would be normally like going off to like work, and instead you have to like craft your own work, and then figure out how to like make money at it, market it, like all the things, and monetize and make things like.
And like prioritize your time to make sure it's efficient enough for that.
Exactly. Because really like it's interesting when you freelance, like you think you have all this time.
Yeah.
But if you have children and you've got a lot of other responsibilities and you live in a foreign country, like there are 8 million other things that can take up your day. And
I hope my husband's going to watch this, because
sorry.
It's good
because I
and also like the women like the mental load.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you're going through a move right now, and you just shared like you're basically packing alone because your husband's traveling for work.
Yeah.
And you're here with me, and you're probably thinking of a million other client things that you have to be doing. So for those of you listening, I get a lot of questions about what it's really like to like get off of like a corporate crazy path, and how that feels, and like how do you kind of take the risk to do your own thing?
Yeah.
And I think I always say like you have to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And I think the
freedom to fail, kind of like,
Yes, totally. I don't know if you share that same mindset, but
absolutely.
And I think you have to be okay not knowing what's next.
Exactly.
And
you really have to like completely change your mindset of having it all figured out to not at all. And not necessarily knowing, but also trusting in yourself that it will, but also I think what I've found not the hardest actually, what I've had to do more is putting myself out there, like trying to get rid of all the embarrassment, all the, you just really have to just do it. And and that doesn't come naturally to me, like, and to lots of people. But if you don't do that, like, like you have to just like, people have to see your work. If, you have to put it out there. You have to do as much as you can, and you just have to trust that it's, I mean, my husband would say trusting that it's going to work out is not enough.
I know.
But you do have to have that sort of like blind, like just, like confidence.
You absolutely do. And I think you have to be, to your point, like okay with sharing things that you may not think are completely perfect. Because it's one lens of your own perspective.
Absolutely.
And I think that's also been really hard for me because I think if you've been in like a corporate job where you're used to like, okay, this has to be really good because this is for this. And you've got people like all these eyes are on it. And then it's just you and you're putting something out there and work, like you're coming at it from a photography lens. I come at it from like a writing and a strategic lens. And I'm like, this isn't exactly what I would want, but I have to put it out there. And I think that's super important for our listeners. Like, just be okay with like putting yourself out there and not letting go of like, you'll have a million fears and like negative thoughts that will go through your head, but you have to just go for it.
That's how you learn and that's how you get better.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And if you like, I think someone said like you should always look back and be embarrassed about things that you've like put out and done, because if you didn't, you spent too long crafting it and then not enough time like actually learning, like, because iterating, you're going to iterate like so many times to get to where you want to be. And everyone's still learning.
No,
you
for sure.
But if you're not putting stuff out there, you're not trusting yourself enough to try, and you just have to take that risk, and you have to.
True. Yeah, I love that. And I also think, tell me if you agree, but if you take little steps in the direction like you think is right.
Yes.
The bigger steps become hard or easier, I should say. Like, meaning every little step you take, like the next step doesn't feel as hard.
Yes, exactly.
Because you're kind of like, okay, I'm seeing some momentum, or like I feel this, or you just put like positive energy out there and you meet, I think people like, it's so funny. Like I just kind of knew I would love to like talk to you, not even knowing you, but, and I think like just being, I think, open and being willing to try things. Like you were willing to meet me and come on the podcast. I just think it's super cool.
Thank you. So, I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, good. Okay. I have 3 more questions for us.
No.
Okay. What kind of feels hard about living here, or like unresolved in your mind?
I think still probably the French. Like it's definitely getting better. I work with another thing for the show notes. I work with an amazing lady. If anyone's moving here, she helps expats learn French, and she's incredible. Amazing. It's all online, but she's incredible. And I think, but also it's I guess back to like putting yourself out there again is with the French as well. So it's having for a while I was sort of embarrassed to speak in case it was wrong, but you just have to try.
I know.
So that still feels a little bit unresolved, obviously, because I'm not at the place where I think also we had unrealistic expectations of where we would be.
Same.
In 3 years, I was like, I'll be fluent in 3 years. I'm so far from being fluent.
I thought I was going to be completely fluent within.
My kids are, which is annoying.
My kids are super fluent too, and it's annoying because they're correcting me constantly.
I know. They can't. They won't even speak to me because they're like, your accent is so bad. Like they're like, I'm not even going to talk to you. Like I can't.
My daughter says that all the time.
I'm like, we have to speak French at home. I know.
I was like, okay. She's like, we don't have to speak French at home. I'm like, okay, I know.
Yeah.
But it is. What's been your French learning journey? Like, have you been taking lessons? You said with this woman. Have you been doing like watching TV in French? Like, how have you learned?
Yeah, all of the above. I did a couple of intensive courses when I first arrived, which was great for like the grammar and the base. But then I really was not like. I wasn't able to speak naturally. It wasn't like if I could slow down and write it down maybe, but then it wasn't coming to my brain quick enough to have it like conversation. So then I started with my friend and I, Melly, who's another photographer I work with a lot. Actually, she's an amazing tour guide as well. I'll tell you about her.
Good resources for people. Great.
And her and I do the lessons. We found Lisa, and we were doing twice a week with her, and that's just been it's like a conversation workshop. But that's been the best thing because you're just learning. I think learning as you're speaking.
Yes.
And also just I never switch to English when I'm out in France. Anyway.
No, me either.
Like people switch to English for me. I'm like, oh, trying to learn.
It always feels like a slap in the face.
I know, totally.
I know.
They still do it all the time.
Oh, it just happened to me this morning. And I'm like, I'm 3 years into this journey and you're asking what kind of milk I want in English.
I know.
For my coffee. Yeah. Like, no, I can tell you that in French.
Exactly.
I'll tell you where that won't happen though. It happens very rarely in Aix-en-Provence.
Oh, really?
Because they don't speak English.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's it. That's all. Yeah. I actually think they speak English too well in Paris. Like,
It's
you can
true.
get by.
You can completely get by with not knowing French. I cannot say the same living where I live.
No,
it would
bet.
be
But
nearly
that's good.
impossible.
That's good.
Yeah, it really forces.
Yes, exactly.
It forces you to.
Yeah.
But it's funny. So you feel more confident now, would you say?
Definitely,
Like, okay,
definitely. Yeah, no, I'm definitely. I can have like a full doctor's conversation now in French, and because we're moving, like I can organize all the quotes, everything in French. Like, so yeah.
Good.
No, but getting more confident. I wouldn't say, but it's just.
Do you feel like this? I don't know. For me, it feels like this year has been like a turning point for French. Like I would say 3 years, guys. Just hang in there. For 3
honestly,
years.
it takes way longer. Than you think.
Yes, but this is the first time I can honestly say I can like have a full conversation.
Yeah.
In fact, last night was so interesting. As you know, I'm here alone. I just wanted to go to Septime little wine bar, which I love. I brought my book. I wanted to have a glass of their orange wine, which is delicious there. And just sat at the bar. And anyways, this guy and his cousin they were French, just talking. And they asked me some questions in French and I was answering. Then they invited me to sit with them. So I sat with them for the next 3 hours.
Oh my God, amazing.
All in French. They spoke some English, but we did not switch to English at all. So it was
incredible.
3 hours. And I came home and I was like, I should be proud of myself.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And it was just kind of the universe, like putting things out there. This woman, had her own podcast in French about children, and she helps them with ADHD, and it was so
that's
cool.
incredible.
It was just a really small world, good energy, like putting things out there, putting myself out there, just confident enough to like sit and actually have the conversation. But so 3 years, I was like, oh, okay, something kind of clicked that I wouldn't say I understood. It's hard when people are native and they're having a very fast conversation.
And
there's so much slang that I'm like, I don't understand what that word means. And you have to just pick up context, and I'm sure a few times I was laughing where it was completely
exactly. I reckon sometimes I answer and they're like, that's not what I asked at all.
Exactly. My husband always says, are you actually listening? Because you completely answered a different question.
I know. I'm like, it's just they're just smiling and nodding.
You're like, okay, great. Okay, 2 more questions. What do you think people get wrong about life in Paris? Like, what are some things that you think they are kind of like this fantasy or something that isn't really the case?
I think that it's super glamorous and amazing and I think just that they think it's like, it's funny because we always used to, when I was moving over here, we're like, oh, you can wear like a ball gown to like, the supermarket, but like, it's actually really not like that. But also, I mean, it's a big city, it's beautiful, but it has its, its own set of challenges. I think probably, the language it does take longer than you think, integrating into, here, like, people always romanticize like moving away for a year. Like that's only what it takes to almost like even slightly feel settled.
It's true.
I think just probably the glamour of it all. Like it's a real city.
It's a real city. And isn't it kind of interesting? People always ask me, what should I pack? Like I'm coming to Paris or I'm coming to France. And their tendency is, to your point, like not quite the ball gown. To be like dressed up, right? Like heels, dresses. And then like, it's not really like that. Like,
although I'm saying that people don't wear activewear anywhere, whereas in like New Zealand, like we would always, on the weekends, wouldn't be going to the gym, we'd just be wearing activewear, like now, like never, I haven't pulled it out.
It's so true. I say that about Americans too, though. Like they'll walk around in like LO workout gear and nobody's worked out.
No, exactly.
Right? It's just, it's like the weekend uniform.
Yes, exactly.
But if you wear that here, like, it's not okay. Never.
And the French mums look amazing at the playground.
Totally
not like super dressed up, but just so cool, right? I know. I'm always
effortless. But then I found out from my podcast interviewing these women, it's not completely effortless.
Okay, that's good to know.
Just so you know, it's not. It's
they hide that well,
but it's also obviously like there's just a natural ability to kind of pair.
Exactly.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for you. What have you learned from the French, both positively and negatively?
Yeah, definitely how important the daily rituals are and to just take that time for like even, I mean, I don't work in a workplace, but apparently, no one really eats lunch at their desk. Like it's not that society, and I love that. I love the culture of, like I said before, like the like market,
Yes.
the rituals,
Yeah.
the art of doing, like, back to Maria and I's series, like the art of doing nothing and relaxing, reading books, like if they are so good.
I know.
And actually just relaxing.
Isn't it so nice? Like, I
It's
don't know
so
why
nice.
I didn't do this sooner
No,
in
I
my
know.
life.
I know. I'm actually still not great at it. I need to, like, even if I like see, especially also like because I'm a photographer, I'm like, oh, that looks good. I want to shoot.
You're
you
always
know?
tempted,
I'm
right?
always like, I can't, like if I sit still for a second, I see something like the light, like limit, like flickers over here, or like the shadows. I'm like, oh, God.
You're like,
it's
I have
like
to do it.
constant, but
Wait,
I'm trying.
I do know that's actually kind of, I'm like, so mine is with writing. Like if I,
yes.
and then I'm like, I got like some spark of inspiration.
Yes.
And so now I'm carrying a notebook and a
Yes.
reading book because I'm just like, but it's not totally relaxing if I'm.
No,
when
exactly.
you put on the
I know.
shooting. Yeah.
I know.
No,
So I actually have to like not take my camera and like just actually try and like sit and enjoy. We've got an amazing spot by the Seine, and it's got like a ball net for my son to play, and then there's a playground for my daughter, and it's so dreamy, and we love it there. And
awesome.
but it's forcing me to slow down, like the French do.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was the last part of that
And
question?
what else have you learned from the French negatively?
I think things like there is a little bit of a like they sometimes don't want to adapt or change a little bit. I have found, and also things do move slowly.
Yes.
Yeah. The admin is definitely difficult to navigate,
For sure.
especially with the language barrier, but also just in general. Some of the processes are definitely slower and probably less efficient than they could be. But
You're
then,
saying that very nicely.
I know. Sorry, it's too loud. I'm trying to be.
I was like, it's downright horrifying.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Okay, yeah.
Like I can be
frank then,
emailing back and forth with the préfecture, which is where you have to go pick up your visa. This isn't even a joke. Like the visa is ready, but they won't let me pick it up and they won't let me make an appointment.
I know.
Because the visa's ready. And I'm like, this is like a bad circle I can't get out of.
I know. Even trying to pay tax, it's like for my business, I'm like, I just need a code. If they haven't sent me the code, I need a code. I'm like, oh, like honestly, like
And
everything,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice. But
No,
yeah,
but I think on the podcast, I like to share like both the good and like the really hard because I think to your point also like there's like glamour and facade of like, oh, I'll just move and it won't be a problem.
No,
like, no, there's a lot of things like that aren't
yes.
easy. And like to your point, the community, the network, the like just adapting to like a culture that's not your own, the language, so there's a lot of things. It doesn't mean it's not worth it.
No,
like, I
it's
would
definitely
1,000% say it's worth it. And I think you said you would totally agree.
Yeah.
But it's not like this, I'm just going to snap your fingers
No,
and everything's good.
No, exactly. Like I said, like the romanticizing like a year away, like that is literally the time it takes to even just get even slightly settled. And actually that was longer than I thought.
Yeah.
And then also just in general, how things move is like even just the admin around everything is definitely difficult.
It's very, and it's slow. I think you really have to develop patience as a skill here for sure.
Yeah.
And not get frustrated.
No, exactly, which can be difficult.
That's awesome. Well, it was so nice to have you, Sammy.
Thank you so
were a
much.
wonderful guest. I will be sure everyone, all the great things she mentioned, I will put in the show notes as well as her beautiful portfolio. So thanks again and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.